All right, let's get right into it. For generations, family businesses have been the absolute backbone of our economies, right? They're built on things like trust, hard work, and, of course, legacy. But today, they're standing at a digital crossroads where all the old ways of doing things are being seriously challenged. So think of this as your survival guide for navigating that huge transformation.
So let's just start with the question that really matters most. You've spent years, maybe even generations building a legacy. But is it actually ready for a future that looks nothing like the past? Because at the end of the day, making sure that legacy survives, well, that's what's truly at stake here.
The threat isn't coming from the business down the street anymore. It's coming from these digital native startups and massive global platforms that can scale up at lightning speed. They are totally rewriting the rulebook on everything from customer expectations to supply chains.
And this is a perfect example of what we're talking about. Just imagine a logistics company that's been running on personal relationships and gut instinct for, say, 50 years. And then all of a sudden they're losing ground to some tech aggregator that uses AI to predict shipping routes and slash costs. This isn't some far-off threat. It's happening right now.
And that, in a nutshell, is the digital disruption. It's already here. But the real challenge isn't just what's happening on the outside.
A lot of the time, it's what's happening on the inside. That generational divide, that's often the biggest hurdle of them all.
I mean, just look at this number, 39%. That's it. That is the number of family business leaders in the US who actually feel confident about their digital skills. That is a massive, massive capability gap, and it tells a story of some serious vulnerability.
Now, what's really interesting here is the context behind that number. This data comes from a recent PwC survey, and it shows that family businesses are often fantastic at things like governance and having clear roles, but there's this huge blind spot when it comes to technology. So the foundation is solid, but the tools are pretty outdated.
And this right here, this is that classic internal tug of war. The younger generation, they see the urgent need for new digital tools, for data-driven decisions. But they just run into a brick wall of resistance from senior leaders who trust their gut and their experience above all else. This means that being digitally fluent, well, you can't just hand that off to the IT department anymore. It has to be a core requirement for leadership, period.
Okay, so this brings us to a really major shift in mindset. For way too long, IT has been seen as just a cost center, a support function. In this section, we're going to reframe technology as the strategic engine of your business.
And really, if you take away just one thing, please let it be this. If your tech is only there to keep the lights on, you're missing the entire point. Truly strategic technology creates new revenue streams, it opens up new markets, and it finds new ways to serve your customers.
But how do you even figure out where you stand with all this, right? Well, there's a fantastic tool for this called the McFarlane Grid. It basically helps you map out all your technology based on how important it is today and what its potential is for the future. So let's break it down.
Okay, first up is the support quadrant. This is your basic gotta-have-it tech. Think about your payroll software. It has to work, of course, but it's not giving you any kind of competitive edge. You need it, but it's not where you innovate.
Then you've got the factory quadrant. This is the tech that's absolutely critical for your daily operations, something like an inventory management system. If it goes down, your whole business stops. But it's probably not what's going to drive your growth 5 years from now. Now, this is where things start to get really interesting. The turnaround quadrant. This is where you get to experiment. We're talking about technologies with massive future potential, even if they aren't impacting your bottom line that much today. Think about when e-commerce was just starting out. That was a classic turnaround investment. And finally, the goal, the strategic quadrant. This is the tech that's not only vital for your business today, but it's also the key to your future. An AI-powered CRM that actually predicts what your customers need. That's not just a tool, it's a core strategic asset. All right, that's enough theory. Let's look at how real companies have actually put these ideas into practice. This section is all about seeing that transformation in action.
So take the Raymond Group in India. They were a very traditional manufacturer, but they completely reinvented themselves by embracing digital. They launched e-commerce, they used digital tools to design products way faster, and they brought in a CRM system to personalize their customer service. They literally went from just making things to serving people.
And check out this fantastic example. El Ordeño in Ecuador used some really cutting-edge tech to solve a timeless business problem, trust. By putting QR codes on their packaging that link to a blockchain, they could show customers the entire journey of their product from farm to shelf. That is how you use technology to build some serious brand loyalty.
Now, a question I hear all the time is, this all sounds great, but how can we possibly afford it? Where do we find the people who have these skills? And that brings us to our final section, leveraging global talent through outsourcing platforms.
Let's take a look at the ZBJ case from China. It started as a pretty typical freelance platform, but it was really struggling because users were always finding ways to get around their commission system. Their pivot, though, was brilliant. They just got rid of the commissions entirely. Instead, they built this trusted ecosystem with subscriptions, physical spaces to verify freelancers, and all these bundled business services. They went from a simple job board to a true business partner.
So what does all this mean for you? Well, it means you have options. Platforms like Fiverr are fantastic for small, quick, one-off tasks. Upwork is your go-to when you need to hire freelancers for more ongoing projects. But a platform like ZBJ offers something different. Curated industry-specific experts who actually understand the needs of a business, not just an individual. It's all about finding the right fit for the job.
So let's wrap this up with your digital survival kit. First, just accept that digital disruption is here and it's not going anywhere. Second, use that McFarlane grid to start shifting your IT from a support role to a strategic one. Third, start looking at platforms to find the talent you need when you need it. And finally, you have to cultivate digital fluency in your leadership team. It's absolutely non-negotiable.
I'll leave you with one final thought to take back to your business. Sit down with your team and that strategic grid. Be brutally honest about where your main technology fits today. But more importantly, have that tough, necessary conversation about where it absolutely needs to be tomorrow if you want your family's legacy to truly thrive.